Institute for the Study of Israel in the Middle East was founded 16 years ago at the beginning of the Renaissance of what is now the Joseph Corbell School of International Studies. ISIME was founded by some wonderful people that include our late, beloved Marion Gottesfeld, Bob and Robin Loop, Jordan Perlmutter, Phil Wynn, Jerry Gray, and our first director, Jonathan Edelman.
At ISIME, we've always had the same goal, and that is to help in the peace process by providing a forum for candid, constructive, positive dialogue. We provide robust programming, speakers, educational programs, face-to-face interaction.
The most important role and most exciting role that ISIME can take is that of bringing people together to listen to each other's viewpoints.
It has provided and continues to provide a home for those people who have an abiding interest in Israel.
I have been committed, as is my wife, 110% of our adult life to the State of Israel. And my whole effort has been to raise money, and I thought this is a great opportunity to do something different, to create a relationship with Israel and its neighbors to where we could bring a different kind of connection. Education, cultural, bringing people here from that part of the world, sending our people over there.
We learn to listen to each other's narratives and history and accept the differences.
Trying to accomplish Mideast peace is the essence of our being as far as ISIME goes.
It's been evidenced and it has been carried out with Egypt and with Jordan. Now we have to do with somebody that's right there in our neighborhood.
We have to go further, understanding what's going on in the Middle East, not only the Israeli point of view, but the Arab point of view.
When I think about Maner and what makes me the most proud, it's her sense that community matters, that what you do matters. She said, you know, in life, I think we mostly regret the things we don't do and not the things we do.
Steve and I were elected to do this discussion mostly because my siblings, have no sense of humor, and his brothers weren't available. So Steve is my nephew, and we've had a really great time having a chance to talk together about someone we love dearly in an institution we both respect.
The whole idea of ISIME came out of the times of the 1990s, so the peace negotiations, the famous handshake on the White House lawn, and it started also in conversations that I had with Marion Gottesfeld.
Maner was a quintessential communicator. She saw many foreign students coming to campuses, and she saw this as an opportunity to engage in dialogue about difficult issues, about passionate issues. She also saw that this could happen here in Denver in a way that it couldn't happen in the Middle East.
Marion Gottesfeld was amongst the first females that ever served on the University of Denver Board of Trustees.
Without Marion Gottesfeld, there would have been no center at all. But without Rabbi Wagner, I don't think it would have been here at the University of Denver, because his pushing hard at the University of Denver absolutely made a difference.
I said, there's only one person in our Jewish community that has the knowledge that you need for this. And I said, that's Bob Loop. He, at that point, was traveling to Israel many times. He was the head of National Federation.
One of the greatest additions that we had to the board was Jordan Perlmutter. His commitment signaled to other people that this was something that they really ought to be very seriously committed with.
There was a special bond on the west side of Denver. And Jerry Gray and I are like exactly the same age. We were both born in 1829. We were friends since kindergarten. Jordan Perlmutter's a little younger, not much, by the way. He was born in 1830.
It is very difficult to start an organization. Many organizations start and fail. But what I think this organization was different than most, it had as its founders people who don't like to fail. Looking back now, of all the things that I have done in my life, and I guess when you're 85 you've done a lot of things, the most satisfying work has been the work that I've done at the university.
Phil became the ambassador to Switzerland. He was given that by President Reagan.
At ISIME, we oftentimes have speakers that are controversial. Robin is able to talk to all constituencies with such an equanimity and such diplomacy that she is able to calm fears and do it with such a grace that everyone leaves smiling.
Under the leadership of Shaul Gabai and Debbie Schluter, there was a fantastic international conference on building trust. As a result of that, ISIME started getting noticed not only in the academic world, but also in the international political world.
We're going to have a fantastic conference on women in the peace process.
Bringing in women from different parts of the world that really want to work together for peace in the Middle East.
Another conference that we're scheduling now and working on is an economic development conference. What we'd like to do is bring Israelis, Palestinians together along with Americans who are all interested in helping the economic cooperation between the three players.
Our new dean, Christopher Hill, is very committed to ISIME and to be making it a very prominent institute within the Corbell School.
You can't accomplish anything when you talk about having peace and understanding in the Middle East unless you have dialogue.
One of the great accomplishments that's part of ISIME is the Student Interfaith Peace Project, where we're taking Muslims, Christians, and Jewish high schoolers to Israel and to the West Bank and to visit. And we brought them to meetings and they reported on what it meant to them and how it affected their lives. And I think that was the greatest thing we've ever done at our institute. And Debbie Schluter, our acting executive director, created that program.
The Student Interfaith Peace Project was initiated at the University of Denver as a part of ISIME, bringing together high school students onto the campus. We have access to all the professors who teach at the school in different capacities. Some of them teach about Islam, some of them teach about politics, some of them teach about conflict resolution. We've had peace negotiators from Israel and the West Bank come and talk to the students. One of the most powerful things the students walk away from this program with is the experience of sitting in a classroom and going on a trip with someone who they otherwise would never have come into contact with. There are people who don't naturally come together. We have Jewish students sitting next to Muslim students sitting next to atheists. So we teach these listening skills and listen to all sides of the conflict.
Growing up, I always had the Jewish perspective and the Israeli perspective, and I realized that for me, that wasn't good enough. I needed to look beyond myself and the stereotypes and preconceived notions that had defined me before.
The Student Interfaith Peace Project has been such a big part of my life for the past 2 years. I was raised in Lebanon from the age of 5 till I was about 12 years old. Growing up, I saw a lot of Palestinians that didn't like Israelis and felt like I had a lot of biased views, and getting involved in the program, I knew maybe I would learn something.
The first year when I was out recruiting new students, it was a little bit difficult to recruit Muslim students. And one of the families, the father said, how can I send my Muslim son to a program that has Israel in the name? So that's the level of trust that we're at that point. Now it's been 3 years later, his son came to the program, his daughter came the following year, and she came back the third year, and now their youngest child, who's 10, can't wait until she's old enough to go to the program. That's a lot of progress in just 3 years.
In Nablus, which is in the West Bank, we were dialoguing with Muslim women, but when she found out I was Jewish, she refused to look at me. The dialogue instantly stopped, but somehow through working with her and trying to talk to her once more, she started to ease up, and by the end of the conversation, she said that I had actually changed her perspective.
So we were all strolling through Jerusalem, and we had a chaperone, Matthew Markman, and he was actually Jewish, and he was wearing his yarmulke. And I was walking with him, and I was wearing the hijab on my head. And this guy looks at me and he goes, "Why are you walking with a Jew?" And I looked at him and I was like, why not? It was inspiring for me to influence other people in that way.
By becoming involved in SIP and by being in Israel and witnessing everything, I am becoming a part of the solution.
In order to achieve peace in this conflict, we need to all tell our stories. We need to understand the other side, and we need to understand each other. And I think SIP has promoted that. When these stories are out of our system, we can move forward, let the past go, and see a brighter future. And when people around you live in peace, you live in peace too, and you live happily.
Peace is achievable, even if it takes a series of small steps to get there.
Hopefully this dinner we're having tonight is going to bring us support that will allow us to take more and more young people on a trip to the Middle East, because it changes lives.